All right, thank you very much. Good day, everybody. My name is Onyocha Fivo, yeah, and I am a cloud engineer in Secure Intelligence Limited. And today we're going to be talking on serverless, AWS serverless architecture for startups here. And this is the agenda for the day. I'll be introducing you to this concept, and we're going to be looking at some AWS serverless services and why AWS serverless is ideal for startups, and also the best practices for serverless architecture. And we're going to be looking into, or going to putting you through just a very, very simple demo. Yeah, I get to ask questions. So, all right, so let's dive right in. Yeah, so first of all, you ask yourself, what is serverless? Yeah, so serverless, like you see on the screen, means a way of building and running applications without the need to worry about managing servers or infrastructure. So it allows you to focus purely on your business logic and your customer needs, while cloud provider like AWS takes care of back-end infrastructure for you. Yeah, so let me start with the basic. Yeah, so traditionally, yeah, if you want to run a website or an application, yeah, you need like servers. Yeah, so you need servers, like whether physical or virtual servers, that helps you to um, setup, that you have to like set up and manage, yeah, to host, let me use the word host, your website or application. And this requires a lot of time, a lot of technical knowledge, and it can cost you a lot, especially as traffic grows here. So plus you do not want to pay for idle servers just sitting there, yeah, but you are going to still pay for them, yeah, when you have to manage and provision your servers yourself traditionally. Now, this can be very complex and expensive, and these are the two things as a startup that you want to avoid. Yeah. Now, looking at the serverless architecture, architecture has changed this traditional way like entirely. Yeah, it has changed the entire game. And with serverless, you don't have to worry about servers at all. Yeah, so cloud providers like AWS, you're talking about AWS today, right? Like AWS manages this infrastructure for you, meaning you don't need to set up servers. You don't need to think about scaling servers when your demand increases, yeah, or even worry about security patches and updates, yeah. Instead, AWS takes care of all this for you. So you simply just upload your code and configure your application, yeah. So AWS runs all this for you in demand and scale automatically based on your workload, yeah. So when looking at that kind of approach where you don't have to think about servers, just want to focus on what you know how to do best, yeah, building your application and getting them to be deployed and run for users to start using them quickly. You want to think serverless. Now let's dive into how these serverless work on AWS. Let's look into different serverless services, yeah, that you can use to build this kind of infrastructure, yeah, or architecture. Now, let's go over these services. These are just a few core AWS services, yeah, that make serverless possible. These are just a few. We have many more. We have others. So now, I'm going to be talking about Lambda, looking at AWS Lambda, yeah. So Lambda, I would say, is like the backbone of serverless computing on AWS. So here's how Lambda works. So you write a function, basically just a small piece of code, yeah, that performs a specific task, yeah, and AWS runs that function whenever it's triggered. That is, for example, yeah, if a user submits a form, if a user fills a form on your application or website, let me say a form, any form at all, and submits it, yeah, that could trigger your Lambda function, yeah, to save their information, their credentials, what they filled into a database. So with Lambda, you only build for the time your function runs, that's your runtime, yeah, and this makes it very, very cost effective. So you only build for the runtime, you only build for the time that user is making use of your page when your application, when your application is active, yeah, is being activated. That's when, or is in activity, yeah, that's when you are build. Yeah. Now looking at API gateway, yeah, API gateway helps you to like connect Lambda functions to the internet. Yeah. So let's say you want to create, let's say, a REST API, and the user that a user can interact with. Yeah. So with API gateway, you can do that. API gateway is the service that makes that possible for you. So it lets you to build and manage APIs, and it can scale to handle hundreds of thousands of requests per second as your app goes viral. Yeah. Another service that I like to dive into is DynamoDB. Yeah. DynamoDB is a serverless database, yeah, that's fully managed and is designed to handle rapid growth. Yeah, so it's ideal for storing data that needs to be quickly retrieved. Yeah, like your user profiles or session information. Yeah, and since DynamoDB is serverless, it can automatically scale to handle your traffic, and you're only charged for the storage and data requests that you actually use. Looking at S3, Amazon S3, S3 is simple storage service here. So S3 is for storing files, and files like images, videos, and any type of unstructured data. Yeah. So if you need somewhere to like keep your user uploaded images, yeah, or media, you go to S3. S3 is like your go-to solution, and is designed to handle massive amount of data, and you can only pay for what you store. You only pay for what you store, yeah. And looking at Amazon AWS step functions, yeah. So step function allows you to like connect multiple servers. So you're able to connect multiple server components into a workflow. Let me say, yeah, for example, you could set up a workflow that involves several Lambda functions. So maybe one that's like verifies your user input. Let's say you have let me just use like a food delivery application. Yeah. So you have one Lambda function that verify user input or user order. You have another that processes payments, and you have another that sends a confirmation mail to the user. So step function helps you to like manage complex workflows like this with with its error handling and retries inputs built in. It has a built-in concept, or let's say method, that helps in error handling and retries. Yeah. So there's another service we want to look at is Amazon Event Bridge, and Amazon Event Bridge is like a notification system, yeah, that lets you to trigger action in your application based on events. For instance, you could set up a rule that when a new file is uploaded to S3, yeah, Events Bridge triggers your Lambda function to process that file. Yeah, and it's great. It's great for creating event-driven applications, which makes your app more responsive. Yeah, and the other service we're going to be talking about, like the last service we're going to be talking about today, is Amazon Fargate. So Fargate are for like containers. Yeah, so if you work with containers, Amazon AWS Fargate is a way for you to run your containers, yeah, without managing servers. So it supports container orchestration systems like ECS. ECS is Elastic Container Service, and EKS, that is Amazon AWS services, yeah, that deals with containerization and orchestration. Yeah, so you have EKS and ECS, and EKS is Elastic Kubernetes Service. Yeah. So it supports this kind of system, and it automatically scales based on your needs. Yeah. Now let's look at why serverless is ideal for startups. Yeah. So as a startup, you want to go serverless, yeah, because like you see on the screen, there are a lot of things you want to enjoy going serverless. So you want to enjoy reduced cost and enhance scalability and the likes. I'm going to like explain all these in details. Yeah, I'm going to explain a few of these in details. Yeah, so you want to look at saving costs. Yeah, so when you're using traditional server, yeah, it requires you to like pay for unused resources that are just idle. Yeah. So, but with serverless, you build only for what you use. So as a startup, yeah, this is um, a big win for you. Yeah, you want to look at going serverless because it's a big win for you because it means no huge infrastructure costs. You don't have to pay upfront for anything, and you are built for only what you use. Yeah, you're built only what you use, and AWS automatically scales your serverless components for you to handle your traffic. So you don't have to bother yourself about provisioning or auto scaling anything. Automatically scales. Serverless automatically scales based on the amount of workload or traffic on your application or page. So if your app goes viral, yeah, your infrastructure adjusts to meet demand without any manual intervention at all. So you get the benefits. You get the benefits of elastic scaling without having to configure anything, right? Now, looking at flexibility and speed, yeah, serverless allows you to build and deploy small and modular components, or let me say microservices, rather than building a monolithic application. Yeah, and this makes development faster and enables you to like update specific features without risking downtime for your application. Now, looking at reduced overhead, um, startups typically lack the resources to maintain and monitor infrastructure. Yeah, so serverless takes this weight off you. Yeah, so let's take this weight off your shoulder, allowing AWS to maintain, to help you secure, and to help you with security. Yeah, the security and availability while you focus on your product. Now, looking at time to market, yeah, serverless architectures are like very quick to set up and deploy, which means you can bring your app to market faster. Yeah, you can iterate rapidly and redefine your application or your website based on your user in feedback. Yeah, or yes, based on your user feedback. So we at Secure Intelligence, we are big at doing what's best for you. So we have expertise, we have good guys, yeah, that can help you to implement serverless approach. So if you're looking at wanting to learn more or best practices for your serverless applications, we are your go-to. Yeah. So let me quickly dive into the best practices for your AWS serverless architecture. So when trying to build serverless architecture, there are like best practice that you need to follow. You want to design for failure. Yeah. So your serverless is built to be resilient, but unexpected failures will happen, right? Because the serverless doesn't mean you shouldn't design for failure or everything is perfect and it won't fail. Yeah. So you have to design your architecture to expect failure. Yeah. So you want to use services like Amazon SQS, the Q service, yeah, or step functions to like create workflows that automatically retry and handle errors. Yeah. So you want to design your application to handle failures gracefully. Yeah. to give you better experience, to give your users a better experience, then you want to look at using small or single purpose functions. Yeah, so the smaller function are easier to test, they are easier to maintain, and they are also easier to scale. Yeah, for instance, if you're building a shopping cart, right? A shopping cart, you will create a separate Lambda function for adding items. You create a separate Lambda function for calculating totals and a separate function for handling checkout. Yeah. So this modality, yeah, makes updates faster. Yeah. And it makes testing simpler. So you want to also leverage event-driven architecture, and you want to know that using an event-driven model, yeah, with services like Event Bridge, allows your application to respond to events like your user action, right? In real time, you want to respond to events in real time, and this makes it more efficient and reactive. Yeah. Yeah, so we have monitoring and logging. So you can monitor and log with CloudWatch. Yeah, we're going to be looking at, we're going to be making use of CloudWatch later today in our demo. Yeah, so AWS CloudWatch lets you to like monitor the performance and identify issues on your application, yeah, or on your application. So you want to set up alarms for performance, yeah, to check your performance threshold and also track logs to understand how your functions are performing. Yeah. Now you also want to optimize code stats. So code stats is like, they are like delays that occurs when a function hasn't been running for a while. Yeah, so and this can impact the performance of your application here. So you want to minimize code stats by using concurrency. Yeah, sorry, concurrency for critical functions, or optimizing your code, uh, your code's loading time, the time it takes your code, sorry, to come up here. And you want to also limit permissions. So you want to always follow the principle of least privilege, meaning each function only gets the permission that they need. Yeah. So you want to do this because it's like improves security and reduce the risk of unauthorized access, right? And I'm just trying to like summarize this whole best practice. Yeah. So you you can also automate deployment with CI/CD. So you want to use CI/CD pipelines like AWS code pipeline, yeah, or code build or code deploy, yeah, to automate your deployment. So you want to use this to reduce like manual errors and make your release process faster, yeah, and more reliable, right? So this AWS serverless architecture is like an excellent fit for startup here, because you get to build, you get to launch, and also scale your applications quickly and affordably. Yeah, so you want to leverage AWS serverless services like we just mentioned earlier, like your Lambda, like your API gateway, and DynamoDB. And you can focus on creating values and innovating your applications, yeah, while AWS handles these infrastructures for you, right? And as your startup grows, you can scale effortlessly without facing technical or financial challenges, yeah, that the normal traditional infrastructure can bring to you. Yeah. So like I said before, we do this at CIL. So if you're interested in learning or even implementing serverless for your startup, yeah, we at CIL are here to help you. So let's quickly walk through our demo. So let me quickly walk you through this demo. I'm sharing my screen now. Yeah. this like a walkthrough, yeah. So I'm going to be walking you through a very simple demo of serverless, AWS serverless architecture, yeah. And in this demo, I'm going to show you how to set up Lambda functions. Yes, I'm going to show you how to set up Lambda functions, and this Lambda function is going to be is going to automatically run, yeah, whenever a file is uploaded to an S3 bucket. Yeah. So let me quickly do that. So we are going to first of all create a bucket. Yeah. Okay. Let me open the same tab. Let's quickly create a bucket. So leave everything as default. All right. Okay. All right. Let me see. Please, can you help me look through if we have questions? Yeah. So I'll just quickly clear my bucket.
Right. From the question and answer section, there is a question for you. Can you hear me, Favor?
Yes, I can.
The question says, can you share an example of a well-designed serverless architecture for a startup?
Yes, okay. An example is what I'm going to do on this demo now. So I'm going to use this demo to answer that question, right? This is what we are going to be doing, yeah, on this today's demo, yeah. So this is the architecture. This is it's very simple serverless architecture that we want to be implementing, yeah. So this is what we are going to be doing. We are going to create this architecture. So when we upload an image or any file to our S3, it invokes our Lambda, yeah, triggers our Lambda function. So this is our bucket name, yeah. So CIL webinar demo. We're leaving every other thing as default, yeah. And we're going to be creating bucket. So a bucket has been successfully created, right? So now I'm going to go to Lambda on the console. And we are going to be creating a Lambda function. So very simple Lambda function. I also name it the webinar function here. We're going to be using Python runtime. Yeah. So this is a permission by default. Lambda creates an execution rule for you. Yeah. For S3 logs, CloudWatch logs. So we check out CloudWatch logs after implementing this. Now let's create our function. Our function has been created successfully, yeah, and I'm going to add a trigger. So I'm going to add a trigger, and I'm going to add S3 as trigger configuration. Sorry, S3. We're going to be picking our S3 bucket. The name of our S3 bucket is still webinar demo, and we're going to leave the event type as all object create event here. We're going to acknowledge this and add trigger. So we successfully added this trigger. Now I want us to configure our code. Yeah. So I want us to, I'm going to just copy and paste it, yeah. I just copy and paste, deploy. And let's go back to our S3 to upload our file, right? Let's upload this file and see if our Lambda function will be invoked, right? So this is the name of our bucket. You can see there's nothing here. Now we're going to be uploading, I'm going to be uploading an image, yeah? So I uploaded this image, yeah? Here, and I'm going to click on upload, and it's been successfully, has uploaded successfully, yeah? So let's go back to our Lambda. Go back to our Lambda. And we want to go and see the CloudWatch logs. So let's go back to our, or you can go to CloudWatch directly here. But you want you to see me go to the CloudWatch logs from Lambda. So the name of our Lambda function, it's CIL web, right? Webinar function. So loading right there. So we want to view our CloudWatch logs here, and takes us to CloudWatch. Okay. I guess I have to share that tab, opening a new tab. Just share the tab. So this is the name of our function here, and this is the log. So we're going down. This is the log stream. I'll be able to see the logs of our Lambda function. Yeah. So as you can see here, you can see the time. Yeah. You can see 1:32 p.m. and you can see the name of the file or the image that I uploaded here. Right. So this simple demo, as you can see, you can, with this simple demo, as you can see, just a very simple demo, yeah. So we've used AWS Serverless. This demo should be able to tell us or show us with AWS, trying to stop sharing my screen, sorry. All right, so this simple demo, yeah, as you can see, yeah, with AWS Serverless, it's easy to set up automated workflows like this, and by using your your Lambda, AWS Lambda and S3, yeah, we're able to trigger a function automatically, yeah, without needing to manage any infrastructure. So this is just an example, a very simple example of how serverless architecture can help you to automate tasks and also scale your application easily. So you can use the same approach to handle things like data processing, like image resizing, or even sending notification when certain events happen. Yeah. So if you have any question, this is the time. So I hope with this, I've been able to answer the first question that I think someone asked in the Q&A. All right. Any question?
The question here says, how do you handle API integrations in serverless?
All right. So in a serverless setup, yeah, handling API integration is about, yeah, I guess you want to know that it's about connecting your app to another service without needing to manage any server. Yeah. So for startup, it is helpful because cloud provider like AWS takes care of all the behind the scene work for you. Yeah, behind the scene work like managing the infrastructure and automatically handling more users for you as your app grows. Yeah. So serverless also makes it easy to connect your app or your website with other tools like payment service or databases. Yeah, so you can add new feature, yeah, as needed. Yeah, and this way you keep your focus on building your business while the technical setup stays simple and managed for you.
Okay, thank you very much, Favor, for answering that question also. There's a last question here. This question is asking what IAM roles and permissions are necessary for serverless architecture?
Okay, so for a serverless architecture, yeah, key IAM roles, sorry, and permissions include a role for Lambda functions, yeah, to access other AWS services, allowing action like reading from maybe a DynamoDB or writing to S3. So you can also use you also need you would also need like API gateway roles. You need API gateway also need a role to invoke your Lambda function securely. Yeah, and service like Cognito too will require like a role to manage your user identities. While like we use the Lambda, CloudWatch, yeah, needs permission to monitor and log activity from your Lambda. Like we saw by creating our Lambda function, that by default, that role is being created. Yeah. So these roles should like follow the principle of this privilege too, because you do not want to be giving privilege, more privilege to a service. Yeah. But like I said, I was saying that you do not want to give more privilege to a service. Yeah. So you want to look at only having these roles, yeah, that follow the principle of least privilege, yeah, meaning that each role should only have the permission to specific tasks that they do. Yeah, so you'll be able to keep your environment secure that way.
If you want to know more or understand the best practices to run your serverless architecture, or would you like us to help you design and deploy scalable, cost-effective applications, or would you even want us to help you manage your infrastructure? We at Secure Intelligence Limited are your best partners. We are AWS partners, and this means that we have a team of experts that can help you implement the best practices for your applications. And if you are new to AWS and cloud, you're not left out, because we have CIL Academy where you can develop and learn cloud-based skills and even become a certified cloud practitioner. We have ranges that can help you get started from 0 to 30 program, where you can start your career in cloud engineering, data engineering, and also front-end engineering. We also have AWS Skill Builder and AWS-led instructor training, where we train individuals and corporate teams and businesses on the relevant skills required to migrate, build, and manage your AWS cloud infrastructure. Finally, we have Wiz Labs. WizLab is currently the leading examination readiness solution for you. It provides you with study materials and questions and sandboxes to prepare for certification exams from our leading technology partners like AWS, Microsoft, and Google. So if you believe you fall into any of these categories, or you have questions or feedback, or you even want to make inquiries after the end of this webinar, all you have to do is click on the link in the question and answer section and schedule a one-on-one meeting with myself or any of the experts on the team. We also urge you to join our Slack community if you want to be the first to know about all our upcoming events and programs. Before we wrap up today, I would like you to connect with us on all our social media channels. You can connect with us on Instagram at CIL_teams, on LinkedIn at Secure Intelligence, on Twitter at CIL_teams, on Facebook at CIL Teams, and on YouTube on www.youtube.com at CIL_teams. Thank you very much for joining us once again today on our webinar with myself and Favor. Would love to see you next time. Do have a wonderful day.